Watching YouTube while I try to figure it out. I think we'll be good now. Why am I hearing an echo? I don't have any volume on. So weird. I'm so tired. See, I'm live on... Everything's fine on Twitch. It's always YouTube. Just keeps going. Sorry.
Hey, political mom.
Chelsea's here? Chelsea.
Yeah, the GOAT.
I love Chelsea. Chelsea,
She's
do you
great.
want to come up here and talk? Since everyone's derailed the 12 hours of research I've done that I didn't even start getting into. Like, this is not hangout. This is not daycare. Oh, it's working! Thank God. Okay, I feel so much better now. Everything's going to be okay. Okay, we're back live on YouTube. Hold on. Sorry, Chelsea, hold on 1 second. I saw you.
We're the most respected country in the world, and we're making the most revenue. So I'm going to issue all a tariff dividend check of $2,000.
Hello.
Hey, Chelsea.
What's up, guys?
Everything's fine now. Sorry, I had to make sure Twitch and YouTube were live. We are fine again. We've lost all our viewers, but now we're fine. What's going on? How's it going?
Not much. I'm about to go get my kids in a second, but I thought I'd come up here and say hi.
Hi.
Just hoping that the world doesn't fall apart today, on Veterans Day.
What?
I said I'm hoping the world doesn't fall apart on Veterans Day with Trump, with his 92% approval rating.
Here, I can show you. I only made it through a portion, like 30 seconds of Trump's Veterans Day speech, which sounded like him threatening a bunch of people that didn't do anything wrong. So I found it very triggering. Here, let me I can show you the only clip. I watched part of Trump's speech and then I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to not anymore. This was, I think, pretty offensive. Hold on. Okay, there we go.
We ask only this, that if we die, we must die, and we as men would die without complaining, without pleading, and safe in the feeling that we have done our best for what we believed was right. We must do what is right. Colonel Wolverton, too, died for us so bravely in battle. Today we remember that.
Yeah.
We ask only this.
That's as far as I got, and then I was like, I will. Oh, we need to be brave. What? Are you okay? Are you okay, sir? Like, that's the last I will listen to you talk about battle. Like, old Bone Spurs says people who have actually joined the military need to unalive bravely. You are the last person. This is the same guy that said he didn't want to see any people who had been injured in battle because it was kind of icky and depressing for him. Like, yeah, that's... Go quietly into that night. Like, are you okay? Like, no, of course he's not. Let me also show you, RFK Jr.'s wife, Cheryl Hines, who, if you don't know what's going on with RFK, besides grifting and trying to financially benefit from lawsuits that he's part of, that he should have recused himself of or gotten his name out of when he took his role. The other thing he does is like hawk these like ridiculous like cures to things that will never cure people. It's called Make America Healthy Again. And his creepy wife, Cheryl Hines, helps him sell these lies. Look, I just want to show you a clip of Cheryl Hines talking to Bill Maher about the Democrats yesterday.
When the Republicans have been very kind to me from the beginning. Even from the beginning, when Bobby was running as a Democrat, they weren't mean.
No.
And they never have been.
No.
And I can't say that for the Democrats.
I agree.
And
it's sad because it's not the Democrats we grew up with.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the difference that people don't, I think, see. They're like, why did you turn on the Democrats? Well, first of all, I didn't. Like I said, we voted for the same person. But I'm not going to pretend I don't notice how different they are.
Yeah.
How mean they've become.
Very mean.
And
What? How mean we've become. Are we denying healthcare in order to socially engineer people out of existence? Or are we adapting to a fascist takeover and defending people who don't even want us to? Like, you're welcome, MAGA, non-college educated, people that couldn't find their way out of a paper bag to save their life, the people who will disproportionately unalive as a result of not having health care. Is that the anger you're hearing from me? That I'm defending people that, if they see me on the street, wouldn't spit on me if I'm on fire? That's what's mean? Or should I just gaslight America while they slowly die without health insurance, blame it on other people while I have the power to change it, and wait? This is why, and if you remember, if you've been watching the People's Receipts long enough, when all of those doctors and directors of the CDC resigned, what did they say? There is a very clear plan of eugenics in place in Trump's government, which is to deny people access to health care, lie to them about the efficacy of health care, and wait for them to unalive. That is what they said. I didn't make it up. I just can do research, read, and screen record things. Like, I think that it is unbelievable that Cheryl Creepy Hines, who, does anyone remember when she's like, if he goes MAGA, I'll hate him forever. And now she's here delusionally being like, yeah, I don't know why they're so angry. Yes, like the Tylenol debacle, exactly. Like,
And isn't he walking that Tylenol debacle all the way back to the forefront?
who?
Isn't RFK didn't he give some kind of thing the other day where he was walking some of it back? He was like, maybe I went a little too far. Maybe I was a little bit wrong.
100% of it is a lie.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Tylenol is now, like, the patent holders of Tylenol are being sold to another pharmaceutical company that are going to charge even higher rates for it, which, I mean, the damage has been done.
I think the problem also lies with the Democrats, too, because we were too nice. We were too tolerant. And I have a problem with people being tolerant to stupid people. I'm tired of being nice to people like Cheryl Hines, who are just ignorant in the fact that they don't want to believe the truth. And we shouldn't have to tolerate that kind of shit.
And let me be clear. This is the problem with the Republican Party, and it always has. When Trump was running for 4 years, the entire time Biden was president, Trump declared himself as a candidate for the 2024 election so he could tell lies and do whatever he wanted. Yeah, like, the problem is the strategy of Trump is, hey, just let me lie publicly. Let me lie. Let me tell all these lies. Let me spread medical information, misinformation, disinformation of all kinds, and fact check me after. So, yeah, like, nobody ever hears the fact check. No one ever hears the walk back. That is the problem. And all people here, and I'm saying this, like my sister also in Dallas is an anti-vaxxer. They don't ever get to the walk back. They don't ever get to the, actually, here's the printed fact check. No one ever hears exactly, Dust Bunny. You can't unring that bell. Like, it is, oh, he walked it back, like, in a room of 30 people, and then there was, like, a tiny article no one will ever find. It means zero. That's the problem with all of this. It means zero. People still believe it.
Oh, yes. Okay, well, I gotta go. Thanks for having me up. Love you guys.
Love you. You're the best. Anyways, any last thoughts, Chris?
No, but this country's going to shit, and I'm very disappointed in the Democrats for caving in this most recent, because this whole guarantee that they're going to come together and re-vote on the ACA subsidies, there's no valid reason to trust MAGA era the Republicans, because they never deliver on anything. But I'm gonna hop off though, Felice. It's always good seeing you.
Love you.
Love you
Later,
too.
Gator.
Later.
Okay, sorry. My ADHD, I get so distracted when I... Sorry. I know that was a little derailing for everyone. Let me try to get back on my line of logic. Wait, hold on. And let me find... Actually, talking to them made me think of 5 new things. I want to play this interview, so... I don't know. It just makes me want to skip around. So Ben Meiselas today was interviewing. I'm trying to think of the best order. Okay, I'm gonna play. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play last night, late night. Brian Tyler Cohen, who I love, was interviewing Bernie Sanders. I want to play a couple clips from that. Then I want to play a couple of clips from the biggest sellout in all media and journalism, Jake Tapper, interviewing Bernie Sanders. Then I want to play this interview. Ben Meiselas was talking to Ro Khanna today. Yeah, I think that's where I need to get to the point. So, okay, and Bernie Sanders has done so many interviews in the last 72 hours. And for some reason, it's and I have them all clipped. We could go through 20 Bernie Sanders interviews. We could go through all his Senate speeches. But I feel Brian Tyler Cohen is a great interviewer. He also has an amazingly high IQ. And I think, this is the one we need to hear. Joby Wan Kenobi, thank you for the $50 that I can add to the Broken Computer Fund. And Barbara, thank you for the $25 for the computer fund. It will be reflected tomorrow. Tomorrow's live. I will add it all together. Okay. Again, this is Bernie Sanders being interviewed yesterday evening by Brian Tyler Cohen.
Look, there have been for weeks and weeks a number of Democrats who, for a variety of reasons, I think, interestingly, they thought that Trump was just too strong, that the Republicans were not going to yield. So they start off with the assumption that Trump can't be defeated, and they look around them and they see federal employees not getting paid, Trump illegally withholding SNAP funds, kids going hungry, and they say, look, what's it worth? We're not going to win this thing. Now, I'm paraphrasing, and I'm not quoting anybody. That's my gut feeling. They thought it was a hopeless effort, and they kind of folded. Needless to say, I have a radically different approach. I think that Trump and his friends, while Trump may be crazy and a pathological liar, he is not stupid, and he's a good politician. He saw what happened on Tuesday night. He obsessively reads polls. He knows that the American people are holding his administration and the Republicans accountable for this shutdown. They are on the defensive. We have already had 15 Republicans in the Senate defy Trump and say release the SNAP funds. People in the House are saying, you know what? You got to make sure that the ACA premiums do not get doubled. Okay, you got to.
Talked about this on Thursday. Like the Democrats won, like swept all those elections on Tuesday, and by Thursday and Friday when I was playing clips of Republicans speaking on Fox, they had stolen literally just Vivek Ramaswamy, who's trying to, I guess, run for whatever it is, governor in Ohio, is literally word for word stealing Mamdami's words. Every single person speaking had adopted that language. Like, it was fascinating.
Extend the benefits for a couple of years. So I think that if we had held firm, it would be the Republicans who would yield. That was not the position of these.
Sorry, I have no idea what happened there. He said that was not the position of those Democrats. But this is more apropos to what I was trying to get to. That was the first clip. This is the one I really like, where he talks about the Hateful Eight.
I'm just a little bit confused on how those folks could see the pressure weighing so heavily on Trump, on Republicans, and think that despite all of that, despite the polling, and despite the election results on Tuesday, that the answer here was for Democrats to capitulate.
Well, yeah, Brian, you're asking exactly the question that I and other people ask ourselves as well. I think all that I can say is that, not in their defense, that they look at the world very differently than the world you described. As I said before, they look at it and saying, we can't win this thing. They're too strong, they're too powerful, Trump won't yield. So let's, not have people not get a paycheck and so forth. That's their view. I think, needless to say, their vote was a horrific vote, a horrific setback, not only to the fact that we're not going to see, unless we somehow stop it, premiums, ACA premiums double, in some cases triple, for millions of Americans. Not only that we have paved the way for 15 million people to lose their health care by cuts in Medicaid, which is just an absolute disaster, but maybe more importantly, the message that came out last night is that some Democrats, so remember, 47 people in the caucus, 8 voted, small minority, that all over the country, people say, stand up, fight, fight. We had no King's rally, 7 million people coming out. And last night was a setback. And I think people say, oh, Democrats in the Senate can't fight effectively.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be I think Bernie Sanders has this, and I don't know, let me just say this a different way. Whatever he knew as far as why he's not going to tell us, I don't believe that, personally. I don't believe that these 8 people aren't being leveraged in some way. There's not more pressure around what they're doing. You're telling me that outside of John Fetterman just being absolutely a weirdo, that these people were like, after all of the success of Tuesday, after all of the numbers, after the entire, 70% of America saying, we're behind you, keep going, that they're like, I can't withstand this pressure anymore. All of the positive feedback I've got from the American people is too much for me to withstand. I simply must cave. I don't believe that. I think that this is the problem and will always be until we get term limits in the Senate. These are people who've been there way too long, have accepted money from way too many lobbyists, like someone brought up the airline industry. I could give you a million ideas of how many lobbying groups could be pressuring people for this shutdown to end. But to tell me that these people, especially Tim Kaine, who I find to be a highly intelligent individual, is not receiving pressure, not from the American people, not from the left, but from somebody to get this done with, I don't believe it for a minute. Chuck Schumer is controlled by AIPAC. Hakeem Jeffries is controlled by AIPAC. After all this, he still's like, I support Chuck Schumer. and you don't support Mom Donnie, like, these people are specifically in the Senate. It's harder to own people when they are up for re-election every 2 years. People in the Senate very clearly are controlled by money talks, and they're controlled by sources that are not the average American. I think that's the truth. Bought and paid for. I'm mad at Tim. I'm mad at all of them. Let's be mad at all of them. But like, that's the truth. These people, please don't act like Americans wanted this. Like, are you okay?
Do you have any confidence that there would be 13 Republicans who would recognize the need to extend the ACA subsidies?
Brian, it is worse than that. Number one, there may be a few Republicans who would vote for it. I don't think 13 would. But it doesn't matter. Even if by some miracle you got 60 votes, where do you think that amendment would go? Nowhere.
Right.
Speaker Johnson has made it very clear that he's not going to entertain it. Trump would never cite it. So it is an empty gesture, and that bothers me. It bothers me that people want to raise false hopes. Oh, we're going to bring forth an amendment. That amendment ain't going to go anyplace. Period. End of discussion.
Do you have any confidence?
Thank you. Thank you. And don't get me wrong. I do think there's value to like bringing votes to the floor and just saying like, hey, for the next election, you're going to be on record not supporting this or not supporting that. I do think there is like, in a way, a benefit to that. But when you're telling people like, hey, these 8 people selling out, like, there's still hope after that. Yeah, it's absolutely delusional. And this was absolutely orchestrated by Chuck Schumer. He fostered this. He grew, like it was his baby. And then is literally sitting there like, oh, but I'm a no vote. I don't understand why people are upset with me. I didn't do anything. And let me give you an example, because I do think it's important to differentiate between like performative BS and like, hey, it's important to keep fighting, right? I love Alyssa Slotkin, I'm trying to think of who. Tammy Baldwin, Alyssa Slotkin, who's former CIA analyst, junior senator from Michigan. She's absolutely brilliant. I love Alyssa Slotkin. And Bernie Sanders have forced a vote in the Senate, right? And let Alyssa, former CIA analyst and amazing with communication, explain. This is what I would consider as like, hey, we've most likely won, but let's keep fighting. Let's force a vote. And so we can show, at least in the midterms, where does everyone stand?
To the Senator. With that, Mr. President, I would yield to the Senator from Michigan.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Michigan is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise today in support of Ms. Baldwin's amendment on a clean 1-year extension of the healthcare.gov credits. Since July, I've been really clear. If you want me to vote on a deal, it's got to do something to bring down the cost of healthcare because of the healthcare crisis that Republicans in this chamber precipitated back in July. Just to review the bidding. In July, the big beautiful bill, which all of you voted for, most of you voted for, slashed Medicaid and slashed coverage for people on healthcare.gov. Now all our hospitals, all our healthcare systems, all our nursing homes, everybody accepted that and started to plan. In response to that, the hospitals said, well, look, people are still going to come. They're still going to get in car accidents. They're still going to have heart attacks. They're just not going to be covered by health insurance. So we're going to have to charge the people with insurance even more money. So we are now at a point, this crisis that's been precipitated has led to the fact that every single American, everyone watching, everyone listening, is either facing losing their health insurance or paying more. And that includes people on private employer-provided insurance. When we take a step back and we look at all the people that are going to fall off health care, all the healthy young people who are not going to pay for health care anymore, it looks like across at least my state, every single person is looking at their prices doubling not just the people who are affected by the big, beautiful bill, but the bill payers, the people on private health insurance. Now, no one in this room would say that we are paying too little for health care right now. And I don't always agree with Senator Sanders, but I can say there is no more broken system in America than health care right now. It needs full rebuilding. We may disagree on some of the ways to do it, but the Republicans have offered zero plan, zero ideas. Hell, Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about how Republicans don't have a plan. Never thought I'd be agreeing with her. So today, all we're asking for is a clean one-year extension. No one says Obamacare is perfect. No one says a clean extension is perfect, but you have pushed people back into a corner. You have said we're going to pay for our tax cuts on the backs of everyday Americans by using their health care as the bail payer. So can we do a one-year extension, please, so that we can have some kind of conversation, a real conversation that the American people expect people of our stature to be having? Can we have that conversation over the next year, but not, in some cases, have people's health insurance go up by 600%? That is what you have precipitated. So to every American watching, whether you're on healthcare.gov or you're on private insurance, if you're getting those letters, if you're getting those notifications of an increase of your bill of $200, $500, $800 starting January 1, my peers on the other side of the aisle are the ones you should lay it at their feet. Because they have put us in this place, and if they vote tonight against this, it's because they don't give a crap about the cost of your health care. They don't give one single crap about it. So I hope my colleagues find it in their hearts to say, let's fix the system, fine, but at least for now give us a one-year extension so we can have a real conversation. With that, I yield back.
With that, Mr. President, I would yield to
I am having the weirdest problem with my headphones. I cannot figure out what is wrong with them. It is driving me insane. Anyways, whatever. That's my point. Like, this is useful. This is a useful thing to be doing. Like, let's just... And by the way... Hold on. Sorry, I was just making sure I can still hear myself. By the way, this is what the original on Friday, when all the senators were debating on the floor, this is what they were offering is like, hey, if you will just, let's extend the healthcare subsidies. You're saying you have a plan. We extend this for a year, and then we'll, and let's not let anyone suffer and unalive in some weird culling of the population while we debate it as legislators, which I think is super reasonable. But I mean, and this vote is going to happen, and it will, in my opinion, it will just be another vote where then we see, like, who gives a shit about their constituents, because that's what you have to remember. MAGA represents the largest cross-section of people that are going to lose access to health care and seem to not care at all about any of it. So that's what I say. Like, there's performative stuff happening, and then there's like, hey, there's something we can do about this, or something useful we can debate about this. Okay, now I want to get into this. Okay. This is the interview that Ro Khanna did today with Ben Meiselas.
That was quite a collection of clips, and it would be laughable if it weren't so sad. I mean, I was talking to someone whose father is a taxi driver in Arizona.
Wait, did I play this already? I didn't. Did I play this? I've already played this. Can someone tell me? Because I had a list. Okay, just making sure I didn't.
That was quite a collection of clips, and it would be laughable if it weren't so sad. I mean, I was talking to someone whose father is a taxi driver in Arizona. That father has cancer. His premium is going to go up from $44 a month to $2,600 a month. This is life and death for folks. And
just want to say that's not out of the ordinary. If you don't know anything about this and you're not haven't seen any of the average rate hikes, this is actually quite common.
Johnson keeps saying, I've got notebooks full of plans. Do you notice he never says what the plan is? Not even like one sentence. The reality is, the plan is basically allow these premiums to spike for 20 million Americans. For some, it's going to be a death sentence. For others, it's going to mean medical bankruptcy. And look, the 8 senators knew that. Come on. Dick Durbin, he's been in the Senate for, I don't know, 50 years. You don't think he knows that the House was never going to take it up? Give me a break. And then it's awfully convenient that those 8 senators happen to be the senators that are not up in 2026. And they're all consulting Schumer. I mean, people are sick of this. That's why I called on Schumer to step down. That was quite a collection of clips. It's totally mind-boggling. But you know what? The one thing we had in common on the day we won, we had new voices, fresh, young, bold voices. There are a bunch of folks who've been there 30, 40 years. They proclaim themselves the adult in the rooms. Well, guess what? The adult in the rooms have screwed over a lot of the American people for the last 30 or 40 years. They've seen wage inequality rise. They've seen...
Literally, these are the people we need to watch out for. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, there are the George Santoses who've now their sentences have been commuted, whatever. Like, but the majority of people in the House, at least they have to be held honest every 2 years by the electorate. At least people have to come back to them and say, I guess I don't hate you anymore. It is these people in the Senate who are absolutely delusional. And I would bet if we really did a deep dive on every single one of these people who, well, you know, are either retiring or don't have to be reelected to 2028, they have some reason outside of what's good for my constituents. Are they going to get health care for the following year until the midterms? That's why I get angry when I hear people being like, yeah, we just need to focus on the midterms. And I'm going to give you examples of that because it's probably true. But all I can think about are all the people who aren't going to make it between now and then. And the absolute lack of urgency and caring that is coming out of these 8 Democratic senators. In fact, they're gaslighting us. That is the problem.
Rents become unaffordable. They've seen homes be priced out of their ability to buy it. They've seen childcare costs skyrocket. They've seen medical bankruptcies happen. 70% don't believe in the American dream, and they think this governing class needs to go. We need new voices. We need new leaders. If you've been in office for over 20 years, you shouldn't be leading the future of the Democratic Party. This is a time for people like Abigail and Zoran and Mikey and new voices from all parts of our party. We've got a lot of talent. You know, someone said to me in a joking way, or perhaps serious, perhaps, they're like, well, this backbencher from the House is calling for Schumer to step down. And one of my supporters started coming to my defense saying, Kana's not a backbencher. He talks to Ben. He goes on the media. I said, no. You know, I don't care. The point is the backbenchers need to come to the front. Those of us in the back, we need to move to the front. And a new generation of leadership needs to emerge.
And let me just be clear. Ro Khanna is the opposite of the backbench. Like, without going into details about my personal life, the last person I was dating was unbelievably MAGA. Just disgustingly. And the only person, or I should say people, that this MAGA man would listen to were Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders, right? They are all burners. These are the people. But also, and I talked about this when I was upset about the way Mamdani was being treated and right before Tuesday's elections. The problem with Ro Khanna is too brown, right? Think about it. Like, the way people are like, we need to unalive Mamdani, he's a problem. Why? Because he's saying the exact same words Bernie Sanders has said, but because he's too brown, apparently, or too Muslim, or, you know, whatever it is, that's too threatening. Ro Khanna would be minority leader, right? If his name probably sounded whiter. I'm not kidding. If his name was Jack Smith, things would be different for him. This is one of the only people on the left that MAGA is like, okay, actually, I do love Ro Khanna, and I'm telling you, that is the truth. He's one of the only people they will listen to. So that's fascinating to hear him say, I'm a backbencher. Like, yeah, I guess I would be too if I was clinging to power and delusional. I'd say that kind of thing too. It's time to get out of here.
Congressman, as a fake final question, my producer's saying I have to ask you a question about the discharge petition, because if there is something that may move along if the shutdown ends, is the discharge petition that you and Congressmember Massey put forward to release the Epstein files. Lots of people are still saying after Adelita Grajal was sworn in that MAGA Mike's going to try to pull something to block the discharge petition by using some procedural maneuver. While I have you on, I got to ask you about that.
It's going to be huge. I mean, Adelita Grijalva is probably going to get sworn in Wednesday. 7 days after that, we will get a vote on the Epstein file. Now, that's 7 legislative days. I believe we are going to get that. I'll break some news. We're talking with Mike Massey now of getting another major press conference with the survivors early next week at the Capitol. There's going to be so much momentum left and right to say, out with the Epstein class. Rich and powerful people who abused young girls, who think they live by a different set of rules. America is done with you. We're done with that kind of elite impunity and corruption. And I believe we will get this vote. 60 votes, probably 60 Republicans will line up and vote for it. It's going to be the first day that Donald Trump will be a lame duck when he has 60 Republicans voting against him. So I am committed to this. And that is one silver lining at the House opening back as it takes up this terrible bill, as Adelita Grijalva does get sworn in, and we will get that vote on the Epstein files.
That was the.
Well, I mean, in theory, I just saw D always with the news said that she has heard that Nancy Mace wants off the Epstein petition. I'd be honestly shocked about that. As shocked as I would, let me just make this clear. As shocked as I would be as after Nancy Mace said she was a proponent, she was like what is it? Oh my God, I'm going to have to ask again. I forgot. Sorry, everyone who was here last time. What is the name of the person? It's not mayor. Who that leads a parade? I'm sorry. For some reason, I can't retain this information in my brain. What is the name of a person that leads a parade? What is it? Marshall. Thank you. I keep wanting to say mayor, and I'm like, you can't be a mayor of a parade. She was like the marshal of LGBTQIA parades. And when it became politically advantageous for her to become a hateful, disgusting bigot that reeks of insecurity and lies, then she did that to remain in power. So and this is me speculating off of Dee's comment that she heard Nancy Mace might retract her signature from that petition. Yeah, if I was looking at the names on that petition and I needed to pick off one insecure idiot, yeah, for sure would be her. But I think that that would be the absolute signal to people in the first. You have to understand, she is not sitting she's not in the 14th district of Georgia where Marjorie Taylor Greene is, the backwoods of Georgia racism. Nancy Mace is sitting in the 1st district of South Carolina, which is quite literally the most. Have you watched Southern Charm on Bravo? It's becoming more liberal and more liberal every second. So that would be a very weird choice for her. But yeah, I don't think anything Nancy Mace does at this point is based. And I'm saying this for a reason. Hold on. I never played this for you guys. Because, I like to keep you guys updated on what's wrong with Nancy Mace on my own. Hold on. I'm going to show you something. like Jake Tapper did like a whole segment on Nancy Mace being crazy. Like I saw it and I was like, oh my God. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to Google for this and find it. Was it? Hold on. I'll find it. It was last week. I should have showed you guys this. Like, Jake Tapper literally did like a 4 minutes like session. So maybe that's why. Maybe she's like, if everyone's gonna point out that like I'm an insane weirdo, which I mean, you did all of that on your own. No one's pointing out you're an insane weirdo outside of your own creepy behavior. Like, in that I've seen. Everyone's just like, I mean, except for the far right fringe who don't think women should have a voice or vote, but that's your choice to be part of that group. So I don't know. I need to find this though. I know I have it. Jake Tapper literally was like, let's talk about Nancy Mace. She's a fucking weirdo. I was like, this is the best segment I've ever seen in my life. I'm gonna find it. I'm close. I can feel it. Hold on. Let me try again. Sorry, I'm searching like 3 different ways because I know. It's okay, Nancy. Oh, this is gonna drive me insane because I know I have it. Hold on, let me try one other way I can search. I hate when I can't find things. It makes me have anxiety. Come on, Nancy. You know you want people to know what a weirdo you are. I love it too. It's so much better when like newscasters like, and here is why Nancy Mace is a weirdo. Actually, let me just find it online. Jake Tapper reports on Nancy Mace being weird. Got it. I think. Oh wait, no, not logging into Facebook. Hold on. Presses Nancy Mace. No. I have this. Hold on. I will find this. Oh, I found it. Oh my God. I knew it would come. I knew if I just prayed for, I knew we will not miss an opportunity to shame Nancy Mace. Hold on. Let me text this to myself. I knew I could find it. I don't do hours of research to not shame Nancy Mace publicly. That is one of my actual goals always in life, is to let a weirdo bigot who, I'm not going to bring up my suspicions about Nancy and why I think she would all of a sudden turn on the LGBTQIA, but it is the type of person, and not to say that I've seen videos that would prove anything I might be saying now are actually true. I will never let somebody who is who she is shit on the LGBTQIA. It's okay, Nancy. You can just be who you are instead of being a horrible weirdo monster all the time. Just that might help you be less nuts. Like that could be the thing that could release you from your insanity.
Republican Congresswoman Nancy Mace of South Carolina today announced that she is taking legal action against American Airlines and Charleston International Airport after airport police officers accused her in a police report of, quote, loudly cursing at them, calling them, among other things, quote, effing incompetent in an expletive-filled tirade last Thursday. Security video provided to CNN by the airport shows Mace arriving at a sidewalk entrance area at 6:50 a.m. in a dark gray sedan. What happened next, according to the officers, is that Mace was, quote, very irate that they had not escorted her from her car. In a report, one of the officers writes Mace began, quote, loudly cursing and making derogatory comments to us and about the department, unquote. One officer also saying, quote, any other person in the airport acting and talking the way she did, our department would have been dispatched and we would have addressed the behavior. Congresswoman Mace has since posted dozens and dozens and dozens of times about the incident. She held a news conference about it earlier.
It's actually hundreds. I've counted. We're above dozens now.
This week.
Did I drop an F-bomb? I hope so. Did I call them incompetent? I hope I did, because they earned it. So I am not going to apologize for holding people accountable. Incident reports are almost always used only for people who commit crimes. So why were these filed? This was a complete and total political, always used only for people who commit crimes.
Look in the mirror, weirdo. It's you. The call is coming. Do you hear what she's like? Wait a minute. This is for criminals. Yeah, that's you, babe.
It's always used only for people who commit crimes. So why were these filed? This was a complete and total political hit job.
Congresswoman Mace's behavior has gotten so outlandish that many of her fellow Republicans have weighed in on this incident. South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott posted on Facebook, quote, it is never acceptable to berate police officers, airport staff, and TSA agents who are simply doing their jobs. He added, it's not, quote, becoming of a member of Congress to use such vulgar language when dealing with constituents, unquote. These unusual public comments implicitly criticizing a fellow South Carolina Republican, comments repeated by South Carolina's other Republican Senator, Lindsey Graham, with dozens of South Carolina officials signing a letter backing the airport. All of this, a window into serious concerns that Republicans in Congress and in South Carolina have about Congresswoman Mace's erratic behavior in recent months. Quote, it's time for Nancy Mace to resign and get the mental help she needs, said her former political consultant Wesley Donahue on X or Twitter yesterday, where he and Congresswoman Mace have exchanged critical messages. On Capitol Hill, Mace's fellow House Republicans, sources tell me, have watched her behavior get increasingly odd. Before this fight with the Charleston airport, the former advocate for LGBTQ rights began aggressively attacking members of the transgender community.
And tranny. I don't really care. You
sorry, trigger warning. I forgot about this. I'm so sorry. Trigger warning. I haven't listened to this in days. Yeah, but this is in the public record. This is in a congressional hearing that she started screaming that. So this is in the congressional record for all time.
Okay.
No, thank you.
A former senior staffer for Congresswoman Mace tells me, quote, it went from kind of funny to devastatingly sad in terms of her not getting help.
Story of her
displaying
life.
this behavior on a national stage, unquote. One House Republican tells me that Mace's colleagues are, quote, totally befuddled with her, and that her actions have become, quote, a big question within the conference. The general feeling is there is something unwell about her. She's really going through a crisis. It's sad. Clearly, there's something going on with her, unquote. Adding, quote, one of the biggest moments was her display on the House floor when she was accusing her ex-fiancé and others of running some sort of pedo ring, unquote. That's a reference to a bizarre event in February of this year in which Congresswoman Mace delivered a highly unusual speech on the House floor in which she accused her ex-fiancé and 3 other men of rape, physical assault, and sexual misconduct, allegations that the men dispute. There was also her decision to share a naked silhouette photo of herself during a House hearing in May, while renewing those allegations. In a statement to CNN, Donahue, her former consultant, tells me, quote, over the past 2 to 3 years, Nancy Mace has been having a sharp mental decline. I'm no doctor, but that's what I believe. He added, quote, she went from being a very reasonable person to being someone who cannot control her emotions, unquote. The House Republican told me that there isn't any real infrastructure for the House Republican leadership to deal with this type of situation. Quote, we're all independently elected. We don't report to the speaker. He's not our boss. It's not like there's much he can do. He can't order her to get counseling, unquote. We reached out to Congresswoman Mace for an interview and for comment about her behavior, and her office declined.
You know, you're on a... Let me just tell you guys, hold on, and shut this off because it's making more background noise. Okay, hold on. Let me just tell you guys, like, more information, since I don't want any woman to be slandered. But here, like, this is why I played this, because you'll never hear me allowing, like, men to be like, let me tell you what's wrong with this woman's brain. I actually cannot stand when I hear things like this. But here is my problem. Whatever, Nancy Mace, and I'm gonna give you ideas of what I think is the why behind all of it. But when you decide, after literally being the parade marshal in LGBTQIA parades, the first time I ever heard you speak, you showed up in Congress being like, I'm the moderate woman who's been raped, so I understand why women need access to ABs, and I am an advocate for the LGBTQIA and will be till I die. And when she started being attacked by the Freedom Caucus and Trump, like, I don't think she knew what to do. And also, I want to be clear, because actually, I'm trying to think if I should. There are court documents, because I love primary. I'm a researcher at heart. I have primary documents. I'm going to try to. Okay, here's the. You heard Jake Tapper saying that she made the decision to post, like, naked silhouettes of, or not post. And she was on the House floor, like, screaming that her ex was a creep. I don't know what the truth is behind that, because I don't want to be sued. But I do know that I've read a lot of the court documents around it. And Nancy Mace, what is alleged is that Nancy Mace gained access to her last fiancé's phone, and he had recorded her and other people during SCX acts. Again, this is all alleged. This is her story, and she's proved time and time again that whenever she goes into a spiral, she tells thousands of lies, weirdly directed at minority groups. So it's hard for me to understand what the truth is. I've not seen any screenshots or proof of any of this, but I'm just telling you what her side is that this man she was engaged to, which again would not explain all of this behavior. I think this was within the last 2.5 years. I cannot even stand doing this. I'm not defending her, but she is saying that this man recorded not only her but other people without their consent, which, hey, well, this is why I will never be engaging in intimacy with any man ever again, because yeah, this is what happens. But anyways, so he, I believe, is now countersuing her, saying it's untrue. She's saying she has proof. I don't know, but I don't, and I want to say this is my opinion based on the timeline that I very much have investigated. I don't think that her hate of the LGBTQIA, that 180-degree turn, has anything to do with whatever is going on with her last fiance. All of that occurred prior and had to do with Trump just like basically being like, I'm going to primary you. And then she did a personality switch. So, and I should not say this. I do have the clips. Yeah. Okay. The reason that Nancy Mace is who she is, and the reason that I'm again, this is all allegedly. These are things I made up and dreamed. None of anything I'm about to say is real. I dreamed it all, and I'm just repeating a dream I had. Okay, with that understanding that I am going to repeat a dream sequence that I had. Okay, her father was a very high up military general or whatever he was. He was in charge of the Citadel, right? She's always like, I was the first woman to graduate from the Citadel. Yeah, that's because your daddy was watching over you and stopping anything bad from happening to you. So just to be clear, anything she ever says about her resilience or willingness to survive anything is because her daddy was in charge of the place. And that is also, and again, this is all things I saw in a dream. I'm just describing a dream sequence. Whether any of this is true or not, I don't know. This is a dream I had about Nancy Mace. So let's, in my dream, the reason the far right hates her is because she never actually really did any of the things that people at the Citadel would have to do to graduate. She just hid behind her daddy and then got a diploma. Okay. I mean, in my dream, that was the way it happened. Also, in my dream, weirdly, she might have been in same-sex relationships with other people that were there, and maybe there were videos. Again, this is just a dream I had. None of it was ever true. I just dreamed this. And maybe in my dream, Nancy Mace was hooking up with other women in my dream who also were at the Citadel. So I'm only saying this so everyone can understand not only why the right hates her, but also why it is so crazy that she now has declared herself the bathroom monitor of Congress. Let's just be who you are. And when people are like, hey, I'm super worried about her mental health, she seems to be crumbling. Yeah, I also would be crumbling if I had denied every single part of me in order to try to marry some guy who, I'm not saying he's good or not. Also, all of this was a dream. Just to be clear, I'm going to continue telling about my dream that never happened in reality. So in my dream, Nancy Mace got engaged to a man. I dreamed up all these clips. I might have clips to show you about that. Or other legal documents or newspaper articles, but it was all in my dream. So if newspaper articles were available to other people, I don't know. I dreamed all of this. And she got engaged to a man, and she said that he was, oh my God, I don't even think I could say any of this, but listen, if he's a creep, I don't like him and I don't want her to be near him. And she has said that she has been raped at the Citadel, and that's where her trauma started from, or she had been raped. So she's saying that this man she was engaged to, like, recorded her in, sex acts without her knowledge. Again, this is something I dreamed. I don't know if it's real or not. And that because of that, like, all the things you heard Jake Tapper talking about, which is super weird because this is just a dream I had, like her showing up on the house floor and talking about predators and showing, unclothed pictures of herself. That was her after she had broken in. This is just a dream I had. Broken into her fiance's phone and not just found pictures of herself, but she alleges in my dream that I have no idea if it's based in reality, was recording other women in SEXX. Again, this is just a very strange dream I had. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, if any one part of any of it is true, I could see why she's acting insane. But again, I'm going to restate my problem with her is, to my knowledge and the timeline of my dream, which is not based in reality in any way, none of this happened. But before Trump threatened you and told you that you needed to denounce the LGBTQIA in order to be part of the Republican Party, to my knowledge. So that's my problem with her. Again, I mean, if you guys dream about her too, I think it's easy, you might find similar information in your dreams as I've had in mine. None of which really make any sense. But like, the more concerning part is like what Jake Tapper said is like, there's no like mental health advocates. There's no boss. As long as people keep electing this woman and letting her go back to Congress, she's, in my opinion, and let's just say if her dad is some sort of high-ranking military official who allowed her to be the first woman to graduate from the Citadel, just whatever happened to her there, she's not okay. You know what I mean? So it gives you background, like, into how awful things must have been for her there and why now she is so absolutely unstable. But yeah, here, my only issue is when you, creepy weirdo, drag the LGBTQIA into your own disgusting, delusional problems, and you go from being the marshal in an LGBTQIA parade to saying that trans people need to be done away with. Yeah, it's F you forever. Forever and always. And that's the thing. I have been, and I promise you, and I mean this sincerely, whatever happened to Nancy Mace has happened to me 10,000 times worse. And I say that with absolute confidence. And I am not now sitting here being like, let's go ahead and eradicate trans people. That's my point. There is no excuse. Whatever weird delusional excuse Nancy Mace has is absolutely unacceptable. Unless you're trying to, retain power in the House. Yes, thank you, Honeybuzz. Many women have gone through whatever it is she says she has and worse. The only reason I say whatever is because I'm not going to get into how many lies she's told that have been factually disproved. But it has been many. So because of that, I don't know whatever Nancy, I don't know what the truth is and what isn't. But I will say this. I don't care how many men assault me. I'm not going to turn on the LGBTQIA and suddenly blame it on them. Like, and yeah, that's super unforgivable and never understood why. And I don't think anyone else ever will. So, yeah. But she's still, this is, and just to be clear, none of this has ever stopped. She's still going, I'm actually now unclear of who, well, she's suing like 3 different people in particular. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just going back to, I'm sorry I did that, but I am queer, so when Nancy Mace decides to lie about people, it does affect me. Don't blame it on us, Nancy. Blame it on yourself. Blame it on your father. Blame it on whoever the F's fault it is. It's not gay people. They didn't do anything to you. And there are videos out there. If you are an amazing researcher of truth, possibly, I don't know. This is all a dream I had. None of it's real. But I did have a dream that there are videos somewhere on the internet of Nancy Mace when she was at the Citadel making out with a woman. I don't know. Hypothetically. Just hypothetically. I'm just saying, again, I don't know. I just made all of that up. It was a dream I had. Oh, can I just... No, there was, yeah, someone said blame it on the alcohol. I don't think that's what Nancy Mace's issue is. But yeah. I'm not talking about someone that's making out with people because they are tipsy. Talking about someone that hates themselves. Okay, anyways, that's all just a very weird dream I had. None of that may or may not be true. Whatever, just something I made up in a dream I had. Anyways.
Days after, I'll say it, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series. I know.
By the way, oh wait, am I doing it? Hold on, I might be doing this in the wrong order. I think I am. Yep.
Newsom is here at ground.
So this is Gavin Newsom speaking in Houston.
Zero. Because he wants y'all to know that he is about this life. So will you join me in welcoming a real governor, Gavin Newsom?
Thank you, Doc. I came out here just to say those 2 words. Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up not just for yourselves, for each other, for this state, our nation, and the world we're trying to build. Thank you. Thank you for not giving into cynicism. Thank you for not giving into the fear and the anxiety that fills so many people. Thank you for being the antidote to that. Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for stepping in. And thank you for inspiring a nation, Texas. Thank you for inspiring the state of California. Thank you for Proposition 50. Gene wasn't wrong. Gene wasn't wrong. You guys made this happen. You guys have awakened up our immune system. We're dealing with an invasive species by the name of Donald Trump. He is an historic president, however. Historically unpopular president. Under every key category. And you can't even make this is hard to do. On every issue, on the economy, on tariffs, on immigration, on health care. Historically unpopular president. And he knows it. And he knows it. Why else? Why else did he make that call to your governor? Why else did he feel the need to rig the election before even one vote was cast? That's just weakness. Weakness masquerading as strength. That's Donald Trump. And he had a very bad night on Tuesday. Bad night. And he did because all of you. You're showing up. We talk that No Kings rally. You talk about patriotism. You talk about why the founding fathers lived and died. You talk about why we're all here. The best of the Roman Republic, best of Greek democracy, co-equal branches of government, popular sovereignty, the rule of law, not the rule of Don. And it's dawning on people all across the United States of America what's at stake. And you put a stake in the ground. People are showing up. They don't believe in crowns, thrones, no kings. And people all across this country are waking up because you had the courage months ago. Gene, his colleagues, had the courage to step up at a time when we were desperate for leadership. We were. I say it all the time, it's not what happens to us, it's how we respond to what happens to us. And you responded. You didn't roll over and you didn't give in. You stepped up and you traveled, as Gene said, all across the United States of America, and you woke us up. You didn't just have your backs here. You had our back in the state of California. We were looking for a fight, not only that we can win, but a fight worth fighting for. And that is why I'm here. But none of us are naive, are we? When I kicked off this campaign, we kicked off the Prop 50 campaign. It was at the Democracy Center in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. That's the sacred site where we were interning and busing the Japanese. At that site, to kick off the campaign at the Democracy Center, what did Donald Trump do? He sent out his masked men. He sent out his secret police, Greg Bovino. Sent them to intimidate us. And don't take my word for it, you can hear the federal judge's own words. This is a guy who believes that the oath of office he needs to take is to the dear leader, not the Constitution of the United States. Masked men showing up. Border Patrol, in ICE. You may have seen this, on Election Day in Los Angeles.
Newsom is here at ground.
Days after, I'll say it, the Los Angeles Dodgers won the World Series. I know. Did you not listen to Al Green? I was the former mayor of San Francisco. That's harder for me than it is for you. Okay? Please. All right? I don't need to hear that. But just days later, Just days later, what did he do? On Election Day, he sent 100 ICE and Border Patrol to assemble at Dodger Stadium what they call the BORTAC units. These are the Border Tactical Units. This is what you're seeing all across the United States, what you're seeing almost nightly and daily in Chicago. Sent out to chill, to intimidate, so people wouldn't show up at the polls. But you know what was amazing? Did we show up? There were lines around the block 2 hours after polling had stopped because people wanted to be heard, not just seen. They wanted to send a message, which, as Jasmine said, was sent all across the United States of America. And she's absolutely right. It wasn't just New Jersey. It wasn't just Virginia. It was in Bucks County with a now Democratic district attorney, first time since 1800s. It was in Georgia. It was in Mississippi. It was all across this country. Donald Trump, and in Texas, as we heard from Representative Fletcher. He has waken up our immune system. Justice Brandeis, he said it best. He said it best. Justice Brandeis said, in a democracy, the most important office is not governor. It's not president. In a democracy, the most important office is office of citizen. Active, not inert citizenship. We the people, you're showing up, you're stepping up, you're stepping in. And people are hearing your voices. And so I just, again, want to express gratitude. You've distilled a sense of well-being. You've given us hope. We're going to get through this. You've given us confidence. But as I said, we cannot rest until we take it back. There is no more important race in our lifetimes than the House of Representatives and taking back the House and getting Speaker Jeffries sworn in next November. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. It is. And so that starts today. It started on Tuesday. And I say this, the future is not just something to experience, it's not something to enjoy. The future is something to manifest. It's decisions, not conditions, that will determine our fate in future. The fact that you chose to be here is testament to that. We have agency. We can shape the future here in Texas. We can shape the future here all across the South and across the United States of America. You have that power. You do. Not Donald Trump. Not Donald Trump. Hardly. It's about all of us. By the way, anyone checked out my Patriot store? You even seen anything on Twitter that we're sending out lately? I'm just saying, if you haven't, you may want to check it out. And word to the wise, we do have, well, and forgive me, but we do have some knee pads. It's a signature series. They're sold out at the moment. The universities and all these law firms and members of certain media organizations, I figured they can use these. Let's keep our eyes wide open to what's at stake and what's going on in the United States of America. These guys want to roll back all the hard-earned progress of last century. They want to put America in reverse. They want to bring us back to a pre-1960s, maybe 1860s world. And you're seeing it not just on voting rights. You're seeing it on civil rights. You're seeing it on women's rights. You're seeing it on LGBTQ rights. We're experiencing it in real time. They're censoring historic facts. They're rewriting history. They're unbanning Bidge, Bud Light, and Big Bird. The United States of America in 2025. And so as we enter, I'll close, on 2026, the 250th anniversary of our founding fathers. Let's restore not just hope and optimism, but let's also stand up as we take back the House. Let's stand up. Let's stand up to those that have been humiliated, those that feel bullied, those that are afraid and scared. Let's stand up for those that have given up, and let's give them hope. Let's stand up for the rule of law. Let's stand up for a system of checks and balances, and let's stand up for our democracy, for all of us. Thank you, Texas. Thank you, Harris County Dems. Thank you, guys.
I know when you guys need a little excitement. I know. But honestly, unless you support Trump, then you can stay on your knees and do it comfortably. That's the point. I'm so surprised. Where did you go, American Edits? I saw you requesting. You're no longer in the request. I was so interested to hearing your opinion on things. I know you came up when Chris was here. I saw you request. If you have something to say, I'm open to you saying it. I mean, but now you guys get it, why I think it's so funny. They're talking about knee pads. And honestly, if Gavin Newsom's are sold out and you can't get like signed Trump knee pads, you could just get them from other sources. Like, you don't have to. It's okay. You don't have to get your knee pads directly from Gavin Newsom. But I think that is the funniest thing I've ever, and most effective tool ever. And I love how he's always like, they're sold out. Like, I'm not actually selling them, but I'm just letting MAGA know that whilst you're down there, there is a chance that you could get some relief while on your knees. Like, I can't promise it, but if you catch them when they're not sold out, it could be much more comfortable while you're on your knees for Donald Trump. I don't think there is a more effective or more amazing advertising campaign than accusing, and I want to say this gently, insecure, uneducated, excuse me, I didn't say it right. Let me start over. Deeply, deeply insecure. It's like, when you encounter these people that will buy these knee pads or should have a pair, I mean, when I explain insecurity, you don't have to, we are all insecure. I'm insecure right now. When you when you come across one of these MAGA incels, the insecurity is like coming off them in waves. It is like anger, right? Like, they're so insecure about who they are that they are actually punishing and blaming everyone around them. And then somehow, and this is the beauty of the line of logic that collapses in upon itself, whilst being deeply insecure and being like, I'm so angry and I need someone to blame, they're like, but I love Donald Trump. He's the only person telling me the truth. I'm desperate to have sex with a woman, and if I love Donald Trump, will that mean I get to have sex with a woman? No, idiot, it will not. Unless that woman is, I mean, in so much cognitive dissonance that it's not going to be very fun. Because here, and I only say that because the only thing I've ever learned about insecure white men is that, oh, I wish Dr. Danny was here because I'm going to say this wrong, but like, they see sex as something they need to take from someone else, right? Like, truly. And if it comes too easily, they don't want it. And that's, yeah, I don't want to get too much. Actually, I'm not going farther down that road. But again, It's fine, insecure MAGA men. I'm sure at some point in your life, a woman, by complete accident, will find you and accidentally want to have sex with you. Or they never will, based on your beliefs and the history of whatever you've been doing online. It's, it's one or the other. So, okay. I needed to show you that speech. I was going somewhere. I'm always going somewhere. So that speech happened like yesterday. Or no, wait, excuse me, 2 days ago. And then yesterday, like, Newsom was being interviewed by Jake Tapper. And he was like, so you're selling knee pads? Like, what are you doing? Like, which is my favorite thing when Jake Tapper is trying to pretend he doesn't understand something, but does.
When you talk about President Trump, you're bravely serious. When you and your staff tweet about President Trump, it's a little different. You've taken on a real
I hate this.
Mockery of the president, mimicking his style of writing, using AI images. I'm not sitting here tutting you. Just let me just go through what you've done in case people don't know.
Yes, you are, Jake Tapper. Jake Tapper, however this revolution ends, you will not survive it. Nobody will ever remember you, or nobody will ever forgive you. Maybe we will all remember you. We'll never forgive you for all these weird appearances in movies and becoming this like weird Hollywood star. And here's the reason why we won't forgive you. Because we know that you are a real journalist who, if you feel like it, you can dice someone up for dinner. And since Trump and this weird fascist takeover, you refuse to do. And there's a long list of journalists like that we can attach to this. But yeah, nobody is ever going to forgive you for any of this, Jake Tapper. Please act confused again, as if the producers of your show has not given you all of this information in advance and you don't know what the answers are. I can barely stand it.
Mockery of the president, mimicking his style.
So sorry. I needed to say this. D. Woods, thank you so much for the $6.45 for my computer. And I'm sorry it took so long. It's like, if you could live in my brain, it's very neurodivergent. It's like, I know I need to do things, and then sometimes they drift to the back. So you're amazing, and I will never forget this, and I appreciate you. Like, I hate forgetting to give people their flowers. Thank you. And if you would like, I'm replacing a broken computer. If you would like to help me, this is how you can do it.
Of writing, using AI images. I'm not sitting here tutting you. Just let me just go through what you've done in case people don't know. I'm not. It takes a lot to offend me. Marie Antoinette imagery, calling him a beta, all those tweets. And there's been some very interesting response by the president's favorite network, where they seem very shocked, very upset by the tone in your tweets.
Yeah. Stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious.
I don't know what he's trying to do, but it comes across as childish.
A new performative, confrontational style. Maybe it wins you points with the loony radical base in your party, but America is not going to vote for that record.
No, they said, where's his wife? They want to wash my mouth out with soap, without any situational awareness, that they've said not a word about Donald Trump dressing up as the Pope, Donald Trump putting his picture up on Mount Rushmore, Donald Trump sending insane all-cap tweets that are just madness. And so we wanted to put a mirror up to all of this. And we want to do it with a sense of humor, but also a sense of sobriety, that this is the president of the United States. What's been interesting about this approach is it's also clarifying because we pulled the curtain back from the...
Say something that Gavin Newsom isn't going to say. What's interesting, Jake Tapper, is that you are the physical embodiment of a lawn chair folding. I've watched you interview Trump and fold like a lawn chair every single time. What's her name? Norm Macdonald, who interviews people for 60 Minutes. I invite everyone, because I've already screen recorded all of it. Norm Macdonald can push back on anyone. This is a very trained journalist who can push back, but she sat there like a limp noodle and let Donald Trump tell lies. The only question all of us have is, do any of you have spines? You don't need to ask Gavin Newsom what he's up to. We're worried about you. What do they call it? The Fifth Estate or whatever? Like, journalists who work for billionaires who own media companies. Where are any of you? You're the ones don't worry about what this guy's doing. Worry about yourself, wet noodle who has let everyone down. Nobody cares about you and your opinions anymore, Jake Tapper. If I see you doing one more cameo in a movie or Netflix series, I will lose my mind.
all cap tweets that are just madness. And so we wanted to put a mirror up to all of this. And we want to do it with a sense of humor, but also a sense of sobriety, that this is the president of the United States. What's been interesting about this approach is it's also clarifying because we pulled the curtain back from the wizard. And we've exposed him. Weakness masquerading as strength. That's the origin story with Proposition 50. Why else do you say you're entitled to 5 seats? Why do you do midterm redistricting to ask Greg Abbott for something? Because you know you're going to lose the midterms. And he is underwater. You guys run the polls. Every single category. This guy's historically underwater. He is struggling right now, and the outcome of this election has really exposed him in a way. But we certainly want to keep that mirror up on Trump because I do believe this kind of humor and clarity, I think.
I don't want to do this, and Don, I don't know why you would make a statement like that, but men absolutely know what sexual assault feels like. If you are not aware that men are sexually assaulted all the time, then I can't help you. Men absolutely know what sexual assault feels like. And I almost feel like you must know in order to make a weird statement like that. Like, yeah, now you're being faced with people in the comments telling you men telling you they've been the victim of SA. And I want to believe that you're saying that as some sort of weird defense mechanism, but it is absolutely delusional to make a statement that men do not know what SA feels like. Like, I bet you know, Dawn. It's really painful for you to... I'm trying to think of another line of logic where any person would say that. It's okay, Dawn. Here, let me request you up, and you can tell us how much you don't know what it's like. I did request for Dawn to come up to explain to us how much no men know what it's like to be sexually assaulted. It does not seem like he is accepting the invite, but I do want to say I have invited. Yeah, like, are you okay? Like, and let me just say, by are you okay, I mean, I assume, based on that statement, that you can't read. You must also be blind and deaf. So you can't use Braille. You can't listen to documentaries be read to you. Do you know anything about the Catholic Church? Have you ever been an evangelical? Your real story. I just listened on Apple News, who's now producing like audio for their articles about the start, because I'm a Division I athlete, and I've always been very vocal about the amount of abuse. Like, you guys cannot imagine. You think you're like, oh, I got a full ride scholarship, everything's good. Nope. Here comes the unbelievable abuse that you will now be subjected to, which is physical, but also sexual. Like, just say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm an idiot. To say men have never experienced sexual abuse makes me feel like you have and you're in denial, and that's super weird. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, weirdo. Do not never invalidate another person's experience with your weird insecurity and lies. Yeah, let's all ask exactly. Thank you, Jeff. Let's all ask Jim Jordan if men experience sexual abuse. I could spend 5 hours and probably be sued after explaining to you about Division I NCAA sexual abuse and how it's like you think it's just on your team. Oh, no. For coaches from other teams can now sexually abuse you. Trust me, I think every day about the lawsuits I should file against my experience in Division I athletics. You are a idiot. Never again show up in my chat and say, hey, I want to be like, no men understand what it's like to be abused. Like, let me just give you two options. Either you are denying what has happened to you desperately, or you are completely ignorant of reality. And this is why no men can speak about their experiences, because of idiots like you. Yeah, men are always taking things from women. We don't know what it's like to have something taken from us. Well, every man I went to Division would call, well, not every, but trust me, depends on what type of predator is around you. And most of them, and I'm saying this, like, I could give a psychology talk on types of predators. It's not like there are 3 PDOs, and I could get into that, which is different than people who want to, trying to think of the ways I can say this. You're an idiot. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you should never speak again. Unless you want to accept my invitation to tell me how men never know what it's like to be essayed. Tell that to the Jerry Sandusky football camp children. I'm sure they will figure that out. It just depends on what type of disordered brain you're dealing with, right? Like, some people just want power. And over little kids, that's easier. Some people have some sort of attraction, right, to whatever it is. It just depends. And I would invite you to read a book and never, ever say again that men don't experience SA. Because that's why they can't speak about it. It's because of idiots like you. And I don't want to say idiot. I actually think probably you're terrified to say the truth, because that's a very weird thing to yell out in the chat. Okay. Now, if you didn't, I think this is very important. If you didn't hate John Fetterman before, I just need to show you something so we can all be clear. Of these hateful eight, if we have to, not have to, we're going to get rid of them all, and we never need to forget their betrayal. But can I just play a clip for you of John Fetterman, like, yelling at women on The View? Like, he is the worst of the worst, and also an idiot all at the same time. Like, by the worst, he's like an idiot toddler with a head injury who's like, I don't need a lecture from you. Yeah, you do. You need to be in permanent timeout, idiot.
Poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all,
disrespects that woman. He is mathematically wrong. It's not up for debate. He's wrong. I mean, let me just be clear. If he cares about the lives and the ability to access healthcare from now until January 30th, he's wrong. Period.
MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And now I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now, for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects.
Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. We have to bless his heart, but can you... So I'm sorry. I just want to be clear. If anybody heard a sentence that made sense, it is time to type that sentence in the chat, because I must have missed it the first time I was recording it, and now that I'm hearing it, I'm not sure if this man is okay. Like, he's not. I don't know. Like, bless his heart. None of that made sense. Like, you said nothing for 2 minutes. And let's listen. I say that because this clip is 2 minutes and 35 seconds. So, for the first 2 minutes, sir, you said nothing that makes sense in my brain. And I am pretty smart. So if you said anything, followed a line of logic, I'd be like, okay, he's on it, guys. He's making sense. Okay, let's listen to the last 35 seconds. Maybe he'll bring it home.
Saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from, and because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos.
Poll found.
Nailed it. Nailed that none of us know. You did a 4-minute interview and nobody knows what you said. And that is terrifying. Look, this guy is like, let me tell everybody how they should feel about things. I actually have no idea. Like, are you, sir, okay? Pennsylvania, get rid of this man as soon as physically possible. We need to eject him from, I can't believe that we have to listen to him speak. It seems like a punishment. But actually, just remember, if we did not elect him, Dr. Oz would be in the Senate yelling about euthanasia. So actually, I think at the time that we were faced with it, we did the right choice. But now, looking back, when I have to listen to this idiot yelling, can't stand another minute. Okay. Do you remember how in Pennsylvania there was this guy running for attorney general named Jay Jones? And I don't know, I haven't read all the text. Like, he said something about, like, this guy's worse than Pol Pot, and people like him. I'm trying to get it right, but again, I am paraphrasing, and I can't remember. He said, like, people like him only learn lessons when they personally suffer or something. I think that's what he said. Like, meaning we all have to suffer, or people like him, I think, meaning MAGA Republicans, until, like, someone personally that they know on lives, they will never, like, feel it or something. That's what I got. I just wanted to play this clip because I found it personally validating of Jasmine Crockett talking about how Jay Jones was elected anyways. Because, and before you hear her talk about this, I'm just going to say something. If I have to hear one more MAGA Republican, because that's the entire Republican. You are all MAGA Republicans now. You're all sham, grifter liars. And if I have to hear one more MAGA Republican pretending for 1 second that you care about the well-being of anyone, and I mean that, any single human being besides yourself, I will throw up on you.
What the Republicans have been effective at doing is they love to throw a bomb, right? And usually the Democrats will scurry and go ahead and spread the news about the bomb, right? I am so appreciative of our party because they are kind of like, you know what, we not falling for that anymore. And hopefully we can keep up this energy. If you remember, there were a lot of people saying that Jay Jones was not going to pull off the attorney general position in Virginia. And there were Democrats saying, oh my God, he sent this terrible text message. He needs to resign and not run. And we not have anybody.
Oh, 10 years ago, he would have been forced to resign. He would have been forced to drop out of the campaign.
Listen, there were still Democrats that were talking about it. And my deal was, say what you got to say, denounce what he did. But in this moment, do you trust this Republican attorney general to stand up when it is the state legislature that decides that they need to fight fire with fire and give us more seats out of Virginia to go to the U.S. House because they're trying to balance out this power struggle that Trump is on? Or when it comes down to Trump deciding that he's not going to send appropriated dollars to the state of Virginia, do you think that the Republican AG is going to be the one to sign up to go and get those dollars? No. So at the end of the day, you got to put your mask on first. And so you can say he is not my favorite person. And I just appreciated that the Democrats got rid of kind of the purity test. You can have whatever issues you have with him. But at the end of the day, you got to make sure you're looking out for you. And I was very excited to see that he was able to pull off the win. Not that I know him. I've never met him. I've never talked to him. But because it seems like people did not get caught up in the distractions. And that is what the Republicans are very good at. There is no way that the Republicans get to point fingers while we have the most corrupt president ever in the history of this country sitting on his wannabe throne. Absolutely not. We got to do what we got to do. And we may not necessarily have perfect soldiers in this fight, but we need fighters, and we can't afford to cede any with the.
That is my point, and this is why I've always struggled being on the left. Not because I don't believe in every ideal the left has, and I mean this like in the nicest possible way before I start saying crazy things. But if you would like to win this battle, if you don't want to lose all your rights to exist, then listen up. The only problem I've ever had with the left is the purity test. Well, no, it's twofold. Number one, the purity testing. Number two, you guys are all soft. And listen, My dream is to grow up in a family that reinforced me, that hugged me, that made me feel loved, that told me I can do anything that I want, and they would support me. But what you have to understand is that you are fighting against monsters who have never been hugged in their lives. They've never been told they can succeed. These are people who lack empathy. They are clearing people. They are bulldozing entire sections of people. If you do not stop saying, what is that? Well, she amended it now. I have the clip somewhere. Michelle Obama's like, I said we take she amended her, we're taking the high road. The biggest fear I have when I see monsters leaving the left is who's going to oppose them now. If all the monsters are on the right, and by monsters, I mean, I'm just going to say this, and there's a large chance no one's going to know what I'm talking about, but the people who do will. There are people with disordered brains, and we are capable of horrible things. We were either raised by people without empathy and abused by them, or all of that. And we became either people who still had empathy but were very angry, or people without empathy. And if you think that you can exist and be like, everything's going to be great, we're all just going to vote for the right thing, we all just care, we love people, everything's going to turn out okay if I just hope for it, you've lost track of what is actually happening. The monsters, the disordered brains are consolidating on the right. And what I'm telling you is, it will take much more than, I just hope everything is going to be okay, to oppose these people. Truly. Truly. And oh God, I'm going to try to say this without saying it. You know that guy that used to always be on Facts Still Matter, like Steve's Lives, who now it turns out he was victimizing college students on a campus? He's a disgusting weirdo human being who I clocked from the very beginning. But the sad part is his value if he could not be a whatever the fuck, because that was prolific and that was going on for a long time. But I'm saying, we need people who will fight the right. These people do not care about empathy. And let me just say something. It's less important, because I was reading psychological studies on this, on malignant narcissists, at the Nuremberg trials, who then got all these people who probably had empathy to follow and do horrible things. That is what Trump is doing. Trump is training up a generation of males to deny empathy. Well, let me just be clear. This was the start of Western civilization, but Trump is accelerating that process. So if you think you're going to hope your way into things being better, if you think it's going to be okay, it will not be okay. Have you seen Ordinary Men? I don't know. It sounds familiar, but it's not popping up for me. Wait, did someone request? What is happening? Oh, someone's... See, I recognized a person requesting. I don't know who they are, though. Whatever. You have 10 seconds. I'm not doing this again. I get so bored. Do you have anything of value to say? And I mean that seriously.
I just wanted to clarify something. I think a lot of us in the chat are confused. I feel like you said something about Steve was a deplorable human being, and I wasn't sure who you were talking about.
Who?
You said something about Steve, and then you said
what Steve do you think I'm talking about?
Facts don't matter is where my head went.
No, facts still
Or
matter.
facts still matter. Sorry, facts still. Sorry. Sorry.
Of course I'm. Yeah, I'm shitting on one
Not
of my best
him.
friends. Are you just trying
No, that's what.
to come
Yeah.
up here and talk to me? I think
No, I
anybody who
promise.
knows me
I was
doesn't.
super. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Are you lonely?
I'm not. I promise.
so
I have
you're
3
not.
daughters and a wife. And
Okay.
yeah, I just was wanting to clarify. Yeah.
You want to clarify? Yeah, that's what I'm. Like, you want to clarify something that is idiotic. Yeah. Well, don't. Okay, everyone's writing it in the chat. Well, there it goes. I would like to be clear for legal purposes that I technically did not say anyone's name. If the general public writes his name over and over, and then maybe people understand who he is now, that is not something I did technically. I just said a guy who was on Steve's live. But yeah, like, imagine that though. Imagine how many people loved that guy for so long, and then it turned out that he did it to me too, by the way. Nothing creepily physical, but I think in terms, I never admitted to it when it happened, but yeah, he tried it with me. We had like a 2-hour long phone conversation, and I called Steve and I was like, this guy's a predator. He's like, what? And I'm like, I'm telling you, this man is a predator. That's how it all started. That's how all of that go. I was like, I'm telling you, Steve, this man is a predator. He reminds me of my mother, who's trying to constantly manipulate me. If you don't know who we're talking about, scroll back up. Many people wrote his name down. You can just scroll back through the comments. I'm not going to say anyone's name on a live. I'm going to end up being sued. I already feel gross. But yeah, that man is a disgusting person who used their intelligence. And after, I was like, yeah, Steve, he is very clearly a predator. I had one conversation, and I'm telling you, he's a predator. And after it all started coming out, and everybody was like, oh yeah, he did this to me too. He did this to me too. He lied to all of us. Oh God, I shouldn't even. He lied to us not to me. I knew who he was, but I'm not going to name people. This is the problem. This is why you should listen to me. I was born and bred to oppose narcissists. And I'm not saying people who act like narcissists. I'm saying people with narcissistic personality disorder. I was raised by one. A genius one. It's like I see them and I'm like, yep. And what people don't get, where we went wrong with this guy we're all talking about, is everyone's like, he said sorry, everything's gonna be okay now. And I'm like, oh, did he tell you sorry? Is that what he said? And then he popped up at Comic-Con with another victim. Like, there is no sorry. Like, these people have to feed their supply over and over again. It never stops. Period. It never stops. He's out there somewhere continuing to victimize people. And that's what you have to understand if you truly understand the psychology of people with narcissistic personality disorder. Don't be dumb enough to say, oh, he said sorry and he's going to when everyone, and I won't say their names, but everyone here knows, when they were like, he told us he's going into rehab. That's where he is. I found him at Comic-Con. Like, oh, did he tell you he checked himself into a rehab? Is that what happened? Like, and that's why I get so frustrated when I try to explain to people what's wrong with Trump. There is no healing. There is no lesson. There is no it stops. These people never stop until you stop them. And I can keep saying it. I've been saying it since I did lives with Jay. They do not stop until you stop them. So we can all decide as a community when we stop Trump. But I promise you, if you think for any second that now he's learned his lesson, everything's going to be okay. He said he checked himself into rehab. You're an idiot and you don't understand. And the only reason I know is because I grew up in it. Like, I grew up observing someone much smarter than Trump doing the same thing. They don't stop. They never stop. Ever. So until we decide to put this to bed, it will never stop. And held accountable. Oh, well, yes, I would also like accountability, but I don't want to disappoint you. They're not in Trump's mind, in my mother's mind, who's much smarter than Trump. There's not going to be accountability in the way that they're never going to admit to anything. Yeah, like, look at what he is doing. He committed all these crimes. He is now pardoning people that helped him try to overturn a federal presidential election. Do you think accountability is coming? Like, what would ever make you think that Trump is going to admit to what he's done? And I'm saying that as someone who's read every court document. It's very clear that Trump is guilty of every single thing he has ever been accused of. I have read every single page of every court document, of every trial Trump has ever been involved with. He is guilty of it all. Unless some sort of alien ship came down and framed him. There is no other way. He's not guilty of all of it. Now, let me just think about it. Has he ever taken accountability? He's not going to. Just like I might have to smother my mother with a pillow on her deathbed to get her to admit to the things she's done to me. Like, there is zero accountability from these people. Period. Don't waste your breath. That's why I go to therapy twice a week, so I can work through it. They will never, ever be sorry. They're not sorry. But here's my encouragement. They're toddlers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if you understand the psychological background of malignant, they're toddlers underneath. So you can F with them all the time. Like, it's like, okay, mother, if you're going to mess with me, then every moment of your life is going to be very uncomfortable. They're angry toddlers covered up by this grandiose shell where they're like, I'm God. They feel insecurity. They feel anger. So you can drive them nuts. So that's my advice. But if you think like suddenly Trump's going to be like, I did something wrong, that day is never coming. But you can drive them nuts. Like, and that's what you saw from Trump. When Trump was being held accountable and had to be in those courtrooms and he was falling asleep and farting, like, that was like his, like, I'm an angry toddler. And I mean that literally. If you don't understand how and I don't mean weird people you think are narcissists. I mean actual people with narcissistic personality disorder. Like, they are never going to admit the truth. They are infants. That's what happens. Early in life, it's infants who were abused and they're frozen in place. Underneath the grandiose shell, Trump is an angry overtired infant. And once you understand that about these people, it's actually funny to watch them go. Because they're just, it's like, oh, it's time for his nap. Like, oh, do you need a nap, little guy? But, no, not sociopaths. Sociopaths are different. Sorry, I'm just some delta onset. Trump is not a sociopath, in my opinion. Well, let me just be clear. He's a malignant narcissist, which makes him probably slightly psychotic. But sociopaths don't feel anxiety. I think when I watch Trump, like, when someone tests him, it's like you could see he's like, I don't know. He reminds me a lot of my mom. That's all I'm saying. I think when people come at him, you could see that it's like he's like boiling inside, which I don't think is very traditional of a sociopath. I don't think sociopaths feel anxiety. Anyways, this is just my idea. You have no idea what you are confirming for me about a dream. I'm confirming dreams you had. Well, maybe you need to figure out why you're having that dream. Maybe he has shark eyes. Don't shit on sharks, D. God, how dare you? They are trying to survive. That is the worst thing you've done. Leave the sharks alone. They are. Look into the cetaceans, the killer whales. I love killer whales. They're my passion in life. They like walked out of the water like, hey, we're gonna get lungs going, and then like our time on land has taught us that this shit sucks. We're crawling back into the ocean and we have had it. Like, cetaceans are the best. I know. God, D. No, I'm just kidding. D's my new favorite person in these lives. I'm going to go now because I need to take some more antibiotics and get sleep. But I don't know what is coming next for all of us. Actually, let me show you one more thing. As long as we're all still here. And by one more thing, I might mean 5. Just kidding. What is wrong with my finger? Okay, let me show. Wait, oh, wrong. Nope. Sorry, I'm trying to. Okay. Oh, I could not. Okay, I knew it. Oh, thank God. I know. It's like, okay, so I know no one's going to be as passionate as I am about this, but Susan Collins is a monster. Wait, hold on. Johnny, thank you for the super chat. Long time no see. I'm in the hospital with leukemia. My first time saying publicly I was essayed. And you're in the hospital with Luke. Johnny, for as strong as you are such a sweetheart. That monsters have never been hugged. Point teared me up. Johnny, I hope you're okay. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to monitor everything going on. Johnny, I hope you're okay. I'm not going to go into percentage rates of people who survive leukemia, but this is good. You have a good shot. And I don't know if that makes you feel better, but I look into things like this. His name is Johnny Longtrail. He's on the YouTube chat, but also he's like always in like on TikTok as well. Like, there's a very high recovery rate after chemo from leukemia, and I'm sorry I know that, but I had someone that went through it, a child. I don't know if that makes you feel better, or I should shut the... Oh, I'm going to assume the latter. But Johnny, thank you for being here, and also with the essay thing, yeah, I think a lot of men have dealt with that, and then idiots are like, I've never experienced that. Well, congratulations to you, idiot. We're all here for you, Johnny, and we love you. Okay, wait, I didn't say this. I cannot stand Susan Collins of Maine, who is a Republican senator, who anytime we need to vote on healthcare or things that matter, she's like, oh, I'm lost. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I'd like to introduce you to the very angry Marine who is running against her. His name's Graham Planter. And it's like, I'm so excited for Susan Collins to never hear from her again.
The Democratic Party at the leadership level has really just become entirely feckless. There is an inability to recognize what power is, an inability to wield power, an inability to even, frankly, have a theory of power. And I think people are fed up with this. What happened last night is a failure of leadership in the most clear terms. Senator Schumer is the minority leader. It is his job to make sure that his caucus is voting along the lines that are going to be good for the people of the United States. He could not maintain that. That he is just completely unable to rise to this moment in American history. And today I held a press conference in Brewer, Maine, and 200 people showed up because they are all angry about the exact same thing. They're angry that the Democratic Party has ceased being capable of fighting back. If the Democratic Party was made up of the people in it, it would be the party we want it to be. If it represented the feelings and the desires and the urges and the needs of the people who are the membership of the party, it would be the party of the working class. It would be the party of labor unions. It would be the party of fighting back, building power, of creating big structural change again. It is the fact that it is just an element of leadership that is in control of the party at this moment in history that is failing to do any of those things. And we got to get rid of them. They have to go. The Democratic Party at the leadership level.
I love this man because if anyone ever needed to go, it was Susan Collins. Let's wish Susan Collins a farewell. I cannot, truly. And that is, what he says is if leadership reflected the base, things would be very different. And that's honestly, in my belief, why the House carries a very different energy. Every 2 years, they have to face their constituents. They have to say, hey, I'm here to answer for my votes. Everything I thought was a good idea, let me explain it to you. And we have people in the Senate, we don't even know why they're there. They're living effing skeletons at this point. Oh, wait. And let me say something, because now that I'm going to keep going. Sheldon Whitehouse made this video because I was looking for somebody to make sense of things. I want everyone to hear this because I thought what he said made actually a lot of sense. I love Sheldon Whitehouse. He's the best.
I know that a lot of people are feeling some pretty strong feelings today, feelings of frustration, even betrayal. I have somewhat the advantage of, from being in the Senate,
is the point. So listen to this, because this is why I do so much research. I listen to thousands of clips and I compile this. So I just want to be clear, and you're going to hear him admit it. They all knew. They knew on Friday. That's why, and I can show you the videos. I have them all screen recorded. I was so confused what was going on in the Senate on Friday when, like, Ruben Gallego, Mark Kelly, those were my Senate. I was like, what are they doing? They were like yelling on the Senate floor. It's because they knew what was coming. They all knew. We just didn't know. They knew. Sorry, it pisses me off.
Feelings today, feelings of frustration, even betrayal. I have somewhat the advantage of, from being in the Senate, being a couple of days ahead of everybody, seeing that this was going to happen. So I've had a bit more time to process it than people who discovered it yesterday. And while I think everybody is entitled to their feelings on this, and I don't want to derogate those in any way, we need to remember the battle that we're in. And every ounce of energy that we put into fighting with each other, fighting with other Democrats, is energy that is lost to the fight to defend our country from Trump and MAGA. Two things that are coming up that are really important. One is that in December, there will be a vote on extending the Affordable Care Credits that we fought for. That gives us from now until then weeks to hammer the Republicans so hard that we actually get a good Affordable Care Credits bill. Not because we trust them, not because they want to get it done, but because in those weeks we have continued to amp up the pressure on them to where they have no choice. If instead of doing that in those weeks we're fighting with each other, we've missed an opportunity for a big win for people we care about who receive Affordable Care Credits. The second, this gets a little bit boring, so I won't go into it in detail, but as the appropriations bill moves forward, we can bake in increases above Trump's budget to the agencies we care about, guardrails against Trump's mischief, and assurances and even hooks to make sure that the funding that we've appropriated actually gets spent and not blockaded by Russ' vote. That we have until January 31st to do, when the current continuing resolution would expire. And then if they haven't done those things, we can go right back to insisting that they have to do them or face another shutdown. So really the sum of my message is, whatever your feelings are, I validate them. Great, feel that way. But we've got a battle on our hands, and it's a battle whose real game day is November a year from now, when we have the chance to throw Speaker Johnson out of the Speaker's office and put the Senate under Democratic control and put real obstacles in the way of Trump's corruption and misconduct. That is the prize on which we must keep our eyes. And whatever we may feel, strategy to get that done, I think, is our now highest obligation. United and fierce, we can do that.
They don't. Sheldon, God. Look, it's hard for me with people in the Senate because it's like, I don't think you're going to suffer one bit in between now and a year later. I think there are many people, and I say this because statistical analysis proves it, that aren't going to make it through this. That's why everyone who resigned from the CDC resigned. They're like, this is a plan of euthanasia, like of eugenics. You are culling a population. So, but yeah, I think Sheldon Whitehouse is saying, here's what we have control of, right? And for that reason, I do love him. It's just hard for me, like, And can I say, I was not going to say this, but I'm going to say it out loud since not a lot of people are here to witness it. I think that this comes from my experience of watching the U.S. Senate and how they operate. I do think, like, part of why those 8 senators defected, not to say they didn't have personal reasons or they weren't being blackmailed. I don't know, but I do think, like, there is this, like, I'm trying to think how to say this, strategy in the Senate of let everyone find out, right? I truly believe that. They have this strategy that I could point out times in the past where I feel like the Democrats have used it. But for me, a poor person who was raised with nothing, let everyone find out means I die and I'm starved to death. So I find it horrific. But I could point out times in the past where the strategy has been, fine, let the Republicans steal all their food. Let them die. And maybe and maybe when we come back to the table, they'll get the point. But there's not that many of them left that operate like this. I think it's delusional, but I think in some ways, for whatever reason, outside of the reason I just explained to you, except for, I would like to point out, none of these people are up for re-election or are absolutely retiring. So you tell me, is Chuck Schumer's plan that people suffer and then when we come back to the table, people are angrier, people are dying more, their children are starving, and then the Democrats have more leverage? I'm telling you, I've watched it happen before. And I suspect that Chuck Schumer is trying to starve rage into people. Chuck Schumer, regardless of what happens, he needs to be gone forever. Forever. Chuck Schumer, you are leaving this place. We need to fight tooth and nail for every person, for every second, or I don't want to be here. But I've seen them do this before. And they're like, hey, let's let them suffer so they'll learn the lesson. And then next time when we come back to the table, people will be angry or more desperate. We'll have more people on our side. Yeah, this is Chuck Schumer's, like, game strategy. It's idiotic. Yeah, he doesn't need to retire. He needs to be forced out. Chuck Schumer is a monster. Chuck Schumer is a person who watched Palestinians be starved to death and cheered it on. There is no exception to this rule. Chuck Schumer leaves. Every one of these people that decided this was a good idea, they need to leave. Period. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a very long memory. They're not up for re-election until 2028. Well, I'm going to save all my money and I'm going to plant myself in their districts and I'm going to campaign against them because I will never, ever forgive you letting children starve for a year in order to make the point, hey, it'll get better. And that's what the I just want to explain this to people who don't understand it. The Democratic Party has been largely passive. And the way they gain power is by watching atrocities happen that the Republican Party commits and being like, see, how awful is this? Look at all the starving people. Look at all the dying people. Look at all the people without upward mobility. Is this what you want? That is what they are doing. I've watched them do this for 3 decades. They don't believe. And these are the older weirdos who need to get the fuck out. They don't see the point in fighting directly, so they're like, just let the monsters take hold. Let them starve everyone. Let them shit on everyone. Let them shit on brown people. Let them shit on black people. Let them shit on gay people, and they'll crawl back to us. That is Chuck Schumer's strategy. I promise you, that's what it is. I only see the world in patterns. I don't need to hear people speak. I just see patterns. So if you're wondering why, this is the old Chuck Schumer special. We give them what they want. They terrorize the population. People die. People starve. People have nothing. There's racism. There's bigotry. There's misogyny. And then they crawl back to us. And all we need to do is get rid of this shit. And I know no one's ever going to hear me say this, but I promise you it's true. I never miss a pattern. Ever. This is what he's doing. Chuck Schumer, it is not 1989. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking loser. Sorry, that's how I feel about all of it. That if you want to know what Chuck Schumer is doing and all the octogenarian geriatric weirdos who are following him, and that's it. I would never say that about Bernie. At least he can identify the truth. That's what it is. They're like, hey, people aren't into it yet. They need to suffer more. I've watched this happen since I was a child, and then they'll crawl back. So let us never, from this moment forward, forget who Chuck Schumer is. He needs to go. Period. And honestly, I never thought I'd say this. Actually, I don't know if I should. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm not going to say it yet because he's controlling the house very nicely. But this shit has to go. And anyone that thinks a humane negotiation strategy is, let's give them to the end of January. And when enough people have died, things will change. I will never, ever forgive that. Chuck Schumer needs to leave Congress. Post haste. My cat's name is Chuck. Chuck, your cat can stay. We love cats. I love cats. I'm going to go let Mr. Mittens purr on my chest and tell me everything's going to be okay. That's my barometer of everything's okay. Mr. Mittens purrs on my chest every night. And then I'm like, okay, I've done a good job. Yeah, we should never forget, and let's never forget. And like, listen, if we need people's votes to get out of this nightmare, like whoever, never forget. We will, and trust me, I don't ever, starting in my childhood, I have never forgotten any person who has wronged me, and I think we should remember. So if we ever get out of this fascist takeover and some stragglers like, oh, I'm with you guys, bitch, no you're not. Like you weren't with us from the beginning, and you absolutely are not with us now. So let's all create a spreadsheet of people who we will never forget have betrayed us. Chuck Schumer, pack your bags. You are leaving forever, you creepy, APAC-loving weirdo. Like, and, oh wait, I never said this, but I don't think I ever said this out loud, but I think since there's only 342 people, it's not that crazy to say. Let me just tell you something. I have one of my areas of study, if I could get a master's in it, it would be Mitch McConnell. Do you understand, like, my rage when I heard Chuck Schumer being like, I'm voting no, I have no idea what's going on, I'm opposed to all this. Do you understand what a non-pathological liar who was the minority leader of the Senate would do if there were 8 people who were breaking ranks and he hadn't coached them and orchestrated the entire thing. Let me tell you how well, some would call him Cocaine Mitch, but that's another story. Do you know what would happen? He would say, I'm stripping you of all your committees, all of the funding that comes from me that I can turn off for your staff, for your parking. You will lose all of it. I've seen him do it over and over and over. Oh, you think you had an idea outside of voting with me? Then every single thing you enjoy in this building has turned off. No one will ever look at you again unless you vote with me. That's what and I'm describing to you something I heard happened when Mitch McConnell was a minority leader. Mitch McConnell is a stronger minority leader than Mike Johnson is a majority leader. Like, if you stop it, Chuck. And that's probably the worst. My own personal pet peeve is people insulting my intelligence. You had no leverage. There's nothing you could do. You orchestrated the entire thing. As that creepy woman said, after facing too much pressure. And now you're still being like, well, I'm a no vote. I will spend the rest of my life making sure Chuck Schumer leaves politics. And all of the rest of us should as well. He orchestrated this entire thing. He has gaslit us all. And it is 150% unforgivable. Truly unforgivable. Cocaine Mitch would have been like, hey, your car is being repoed right now. You will know I put you on the no-fly list. like he would have he'd be like, your life has been turned off. I just had sex with your wife in an adjoining room and it's over. I've taken over your family. I'm their stepdad. Like, and Chuck Schumer's like, this is so strange that 8 people would just come up out of nowhere and decide to vote against me. Yeah, if only there were people who weren't fucking idiots. Yeah, hi, I'm one of those people. Chuck Schumer needs to get the last pair of knee pads that Gavin Newsom is selling, because he's super old and it's going to be very painful for his knees on the floor. Nobody will ever forget this. Chuck Schumer, you are a fucking loser, a coward, and a liar. At every turn, you had the chance to tell the truth. And you continued lying. I'm sorry, I don't want to do this to him, but like, absolutely not, creeper. Absolutely not. Like, just go away. You could have just left. Chuck, retire. Just say, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore. I don't know how to compete in this environment, and I need to just stage left. But nope, you're still continuing to gaslight people very terribly. It's embarrassing. And pretend that you're not an idiot. You are an idiot. And you're an embarrassment to us all. Truly, he is. He has to go. Because none of this, and I mean that, I have studied Mitch McConnell, the turtle Mitch McConnell's. Like, he is, I don't agree with, like, his views, but that man was a mob boss. He was like, oh, I'm sorry, I had a rumor that you might have whispered you don't agree with me. I'm ruining your life now. I am deporting your children. Like, literally, that's how Mitch McConnell was like, I will end you. If you even have a thought of voting against me, your life's over. Like, and same with Nancy. Same with Nancy Pelosi. You don't go to the floor without the votes. Now we have creepy Chuck Schumer, who's like, I voted no. Like, get out. This is the last year anyone will accept you here. And I mean that. And let me be clear how they're like, we can't split our energy between hating Democrats. I can. Chuck Schumer needs to leave, and I have exactly enough energy to also oppose MAGA. It doesn't take that much energy. They're not smart. It takes a small amount of energy to oppose idiots. But truly, both things can exist at the same time. Chuck Schumer needs to leave, and the rest of you, you're going too. But we need your votes for now. And I literally could unfurl a scroll. I literally have it in my journal. You're all leaving. All of you are leaving. It's just not prudent to votes in the Senate for right now. Chuck, you're going. You're going first. Just as a lesson. And Hakeem Jeffries, if you have been given so much buddy by AIPAC that you can't say that Chuck Schumer's a cuck, you're going too, weirdo. That's not a great idea, though. That's not good for strategy. He should probably hang around because he clearly has the respect and control over the House. But the weird way he would not endorse Mamdani and continues to act like very clear things that are happening aren't happening, we've got our eye on you too. But as long as you can wrangle the entire House, which is full of people whose brains don't work, and keep them voting along your party lines, then you're doing something good. We'll allow it, but eye on you too. Like, we have got to sever the relationships in Congress with AIPAC and whoever has bribed them. Schumer is gone. Forever. He needs to go. Same thing with Harris when you knee deep in that game. Harris as in Kamala Harris? I don't think Kamala. I can't wait to see Mamdani making his progress. Listen, I want to say something. If Mamdani does nothing, this is a hypothetical question, actually. If Mamdani accomplishes nothing he said he would, do you blame him? No, you can't blame him. Let me just be clear. Donald Trump promised people insane things. He's delivered on, let me just count up the things that Donald Trump said he was going to do. And we are talking about someone in the executive branch who has just been granted king powers by the Supreme Court. He's done not a goddamn thing for anyone. So I'm only saying that because Kathy Hochul, I know I could play these clips and I haven't, but she's like, I'm not gonna raise taxes in New York. Well, okay, cool, weirdo. Don't help Mamdani meet his goal. That doesn't mean he doesn't want that to happen. It means you're a weirdo. Yeah. So I just want everyone to start recognizing, like, it's the same. Here's my comparison. When you hear every single day on Fox News them being like, Obamacare doesn't work. Let me just be clear. There are, in MAGA, you guys can't read or do research or find anything. But if you read the original plan of Obamacare, it was Medicare for all. And then what changed? Did Obama suddenly say, I love corporations and I love billionaires and I love lobbyists and I'd like to change this all? No, it was the Republicans who chopped it up and said, this is the only way it's passing. So every time you hear an idiot Republican on Fox be like, and Obamacare doesn't work and it's broken. Yeah, you guys broke it. That's the problem with negotiation, is what it started out as, it becomes something different. And I think like they were like, Mom Tommy's never gonna be able to deliver on this stuff because Kathy Hochul won't raise taxes. Well, then he can join the ranks of Donald Trump, who's never delivered on a single promise he has ever made, and all of you remain in delusional cognitive dissonance. Name me a thing Donald Trump delivered on. Besides violating all of our constitutional rights. Besides violating constitutional rights, what has Trump ever in his life delivered upon? Let me help you. Fucking nothing. So if you're bribing Kathy Hochul, if you're leveraging her, if you're like, don't help him make poor people's lives easier, that's pretty weird. That's a pretty weird thing to do. He did deliver racism. But that's why, like, in theory, the Constitution is... Okay. He did. Racism, bigotry, violations of the constitutional rights, which has led to racism. That was my point. Trump has never delivered on a thing that does not violate the Constitution. So, yeah, like, I love to watch Fox be like, Mom Tommy can't deliver on this. Kathy Hochul says she won't raise taxes. Okay. He said, if I could do this, this is what I could do. And ironically, he was trying to help people. And Trump's like, hey, I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to lower grocery prices. I'm going to do all these things. All he's done is the actual exact opposite. So I guess really what I was going to and I was not trying to do is like, miss me with the Mom Dummy can't do this. Trump did the opposite of what he promised you all. And you guys are still... And get a pair of Gavin Newsom knee pads because it's gotta hurt to be on your knees this long. Justifying a pathological liar stealing from you. So whilst you're on your knees, let's consider that. Mom Dami saying, this is what I would like. Or Obama saying, hey, Medicare for all, universal health care is my vision. And then it being chopped up by Republicans who don't want kids, don't want brown people, don't want black people going to the doctor is very different than Donald Trump saying, hey, I'm lowering prices on day one. I'm going to stop all the wars. Okay, more than 9 wars have been started. I said I stopped them, and then immediately after, all of these countries continued the wars, but I done everything I done promised, I swear. And grocery, I went to a grocery store, and I had to get an apple out of the freezer. Did you guys know that? Apples are in freezers, and then I got that apple out of the freezer, and I tried to check out with it, and it was super expensive. I'm only doing this to point out the difference. I can't wait for you guys to try to be like, Mom Dummy Mom Dummy couldn't deliver on anything he wanted because some other horrible person stopped him, versus Trump being like, I'm a pathological liar who is effing over farmers. I just gave $40 billion to Argentina while farmers are going out of business and prices for all foods rise in the United States. If you can't figure out the difference, which I get it, 99% of MAGA cannot, something's wrong with your brain. It was the fridge, Felice. Yeah, that's true. He got an apple out of the fridge. That's true. And he's like, there are these things called groceries. It's like, oh dear God, we don't need to die now. Like, let's never compare Mom Dummy to like creepy Trump who couldn't find his way out of a paper bag if his life depended upon it. Later, Gators, I've got a